Well, good morning from Texas. This morning we're doing an engine run, continuing the break-in process on a Valach 124 stroke. Very cool engine. I think you'll enjoy seeing it start. We're running on suction and not pumping it like the Corsair video, which is on the channel. This is a Vans RV-4 40%, and it doesn't look like much right now because everything is stripped off of it for the engine run and for this video, but I will put everything back together like it's going to fly later on in the video, and it's really pretty to see with everything on it, cowling, the canopy, wings, that kind of thing. The airplane is fantastic in the air. It's flown already. It had a DA 120 on it, on cans, and this is really set up for an engine like that. It's got can tunnels and all that are all molded into the fuselage. Really pretty cool, but DA just vibrated too much, and so I decided to change over to a 4-stroke and see if we couldn't smooth that out a little bit. This engine comes from Vogelsang Aeroscale. Dr. G, as Goetz Vogelsang would like to be called, is a great guy, old-time RCer. Highly recommend his shop. I had a bunch of comments on the Corsair video to show you around the airplane, just not sit here and start it and talk to you. And so I'm going to do that in this video. I'll take you around all the way from the front end, which is different on this engine, to the avionics in it. It's all Jeti, and that'll be a little different to some of you, and I think it'll be interesting. And then of course at the end we'll actually do a cold start on this engine, cold as in cold in Texas, and let you see how the ignition sounds. It's different than what you're used to, especially with a Moki. I think these engines are better than Mokis, and for several reasons, and if I can remember it during the video, I'll explain that to you. They're just a fantastic engine. So without further ado, let me take the camera down and I'll walk you through various parts of what I use on this airplane. And like I said, it has flown. It flies beautifully, just an absolute doll in the air, and I can't wait to fly it with this new engine. And it swings this prop, which is a 2813 Falcon 3-blade, just with plenty of authority. The DA 120, believe it or not, would not swing this with any kind of punch. So I'll see you in just a little while. Okay, let's get up and personal with the RV-4. This is a good size airplane. As you can see, it's all apart right now for the video and for the engine start. I do the engine starts with minimal stuff on the airplane because I'm only really curious about the engine. One of the things that separates this engine apart from a Moki is that the valve covers and the valve guides are all enclosed in tubes, and this allows the engine to lubricate the lifters and all. This is a great feature, and it is one of the big factors between the Moki, which is kind of Jurassic, and this new CNC developed Valach. Very cool. Up front, there's a extra nut I just slipped on here. You'll probably notice it didn't have a nut on it, which is extra security. Now, I usually torque those 5mm bolts. Specs on a carbon prop like this one right here is 75 inch pounds, not foot pounds, inch pounds. And if it were a wood prop, that's 55 inch pounds that you would torque each one of these across, just like you would putting on your car tire. I strongly recommend that you do not supplement a 1032, which will thread into a 5mm, and try and run that on the prop. The 1032 is significantly smaller than a 5mm. The threads, even though they match, they don't fully engage. And if you go to torque it, you'll strip the threads of the 5mm. So don't ever do that. Don't ever exchange a 1032 for a 5mm. Just not worth it. Okay? This is a threaded crankshaft. That threaded crankshaft is there for a reason. On this particular engine, if you were to have a prop strike and bend the crankshaft slightly, you don't have to spend $1,000 replacing the crankshaft all the way through the engine. It screws in right back here, and all you do is unscrew it and take it off, buy a new one, and you're off and running. So a very, very cool feature of Valach. I haven't seen this in any other engine that I've run. Let's talk a little bit about fuel. What you're looking at here is a Rotaflow tank in there. I highly recommend a Rotaflow tank. There are only 2 leads coming off that Rotaflow tank for a good reason. The one Tygon one that you see there is the overflow, and it comes out and goes down right through here. The other yellow tubing you see is Proflex from Sullivan. That Proflex is one of the best things that you can do to your airplane and for you, because it is absolutely impervious to anything. Glow fuel, gasoline, smoke oil, you name it. And it stays flexible, never hardens, and it won't kink easily. Okay, so, and it's very, very flexible. You know, go up here to the filler, if I can get it off. Okay, there we go. That's how flexible it is. Absolutely super. No kinks at all. Just really cool. Highly, highly recommend that stuff. Coming down, coming back down over here, goes into that red canister right there. Now you're probably wondering, what in the world is that red canister? That is a quick fire fuel filter from the same guys that make the Rotaflow tank. And what it does is it's a T that allows you to bring fuel in from up top when you're filling and when you're taking fuel out of the tank. Goes through the T, goes around, goes into the tank, goes straight in right there. From there, comes right back out, goes into that T. Of course, this is blocked off, and goes down in here, fills this fuel filter, which you can unscrew, take out, clean, just like you would a car filter, and holds 1 ounce of fuel. That 1 ounce of fuel is 6 inches away from your carburetor. The cool thing is that when you ask the carburetor to suck some fuel quickly, it has 1 ounce just 6 inches away from it. So it's not trying to pull fuel through that line like sucking through a long straw to the tank. And what that means is that when you pop that carburetor open, you're not going to be running a lean mixture into the engine, which can cause all kinds of problems. Or if you're vertical and you ask for power, you have that fuel that is 6 inches away from the carburetor to pull on. So a very, very cool feature of this engine. Okay, let's go around to the other side for a second. Over here we've got the ignition. This is where I put the ignition for this engine. and you'll hear it when it fires up. It'll give off several beeps that tells you the state of the ignition before you actually flip the prop. One of the cool features about that ignition is that if for some reason, and there are several reasons, you mistakenly tried to start this thing at full throttle or even half throttle or even way above idle, at startup, that ignition will sense that you made a mistake, and it will kill the engine once it goes past 2,000 RPM, telling you to throttle that thing down, start the engine on around 1,000 RPM. And once that happens for a few seconds, it opens up and just lets you use it as a regular ignition. Just a fantastic safety feature that Valach has built into this engine. You'll notice I've got two tubes right here that those are screwdriver guides that go to the carburetor, because the carburetor is way back here, okay, way back there, and there's no way to get to adjusting the needle valves, which are down there, and that allows me to stick a screwdriver in, and it goes right into the needle valve, and as the engine is running, doesn't vibrate out of the needle valve slot. Very cool. There's the throttle servo, and upside down there on the other side is the choke servo, and again the rotoflow tank. Okay, let's go around to the other side. Let's look at the avionics bay. I have a Life battery in here. This is a holdover from running the DA 120. DA, for some reason, doesn't make a 7.4 ignition. They make you use a under 6 volt ignition. So come on, DA. And next to it is a 7.4 battery for the lights. And right down there is the Unilight distributing module that controls landing lights, navigation lights, tail light for this airplane. Very, very cool. I run, in all my airplanes, I run this module, and it does very, very well. Coming back, we get into the Jeti system. I'll take this is where the pilot sits. I'll take this off, and what you're looking at there is a primary receiver. There's only 2 plugs going to the primary receiver. I never plug servos into my receivers anymore. They all go into modules that handle the distribution of the signal and also the power to all the servos. If you're not running something like this, you really should be. Plugging your servos, especially on a big airplane, into the receiver is pretty old school. This receiver has a gyro in it. I run both Cortex Pro and this one in different airplanes, and I like the assist receiver just because of the flexibility I have in the transmitter talking to it. One of the features of Jeti is that the transmitter handles all of the communication with that module and with the receivers from the transmitter. There are no screens or anything like that, and there are no switches in this airplane at all, none. Coming in the back, the standard rudder servo on pull. There's a GPS module. That GPS module, because of where I fly, I have to fly in a box that restricts where we fly, because we fly in town basically, and we have apartments almost surrounding the field, so you must fly within a certain box. That allows me to fly a certain box that I set in the Jeti transmitter. Thank you, Dave McQueenie and his son, for writing the software for that. It will alert me of where I am on the field at any time. Going back, we have the 900 megahertz receiver for this. There are 4 receivers in this airplane. That's an emergency receiver in case 2.4 swamps out. Here is a receiver that turns on and off the airplane. Remember I said there are no switches on this airplane. Everything is handled through the central box and the Jeti transmitter. In the back is the secondary 2.4 receiver. Should the first one get blanked out, they swap back and forth. All these, the three receivers, the 900, the secondary, and the primary, all are capable of flying the airplane by themselves. There's no surface sharing with this. There's one of the antennas for that 2.4. The other one is up here in a shark fin that is 3D printed. Thank you very much for my wife who designed and printed that one for me. The element sticks up inside there. Very cool way of getting your element out of the airplane and keeping it scale at the same time. Okay, that just about takes you through the avionics bay of the RV. Let me put everything together and we'll get to starting this thing, probably one of the primary reasons you landed on this video. What a difference a cowling, a spinner, a couple of wings, and a canopy can make to dress up a great airplane. Let's go in now. I'll take you in for a little closer look. That's a 5.5-inch carbon Falcon spinner to go along with the prop. The cowling is just a magnificent piece of fiberglass work. Highly recommend that. Let's walk around a little bit along with the wheel pants. Those are just a really nicely formed piece of fiberglass. The wing is totally sheeted. This is really interesting and different than most airplanes you'll see. Totally sheeted. It's just not covered with ultra coat and over open frame. Come around here, there are the lights, Unilight, the green navigation light, which is right there, a strobe, which is right there. Great spot for them. As we come around, big ailerons. Those are huge ailerons and flaps. Canopy, of course, pilot all dressed up in the canopy, and as you can see, the front of the cockpit is nicely, if you can see in there, is nicely covered with the instrument panel. Now, as I was putting the airplane together, I thought this is one thing that I can't show you with the canopy on, and that was a pilot. And the way the pilot is sitting in here, that back brace and all is all scale to the RV-4. And when I have the canopy on, I'll show you how it cleans up the front end of the cockpit and the instrument panel. Come away from it and we'll come back around here. The stab, it carries the servos. There's one in each stab, and those stabs come off very easily. And we'll come back around to the other side. Again, go in a little bit, see if that's a better shot on the instrument panel. Big flaps, big ailerons. Come around, and there's the red navigation light and strobe sitting in that plastic wingtip. Come around underneath. There's an active pitot tube, gives me airspeed, active airspeed to the transmitter, so I know exactly how fast I'm going. Again, the really nice wheel pant, strong landing gear, and the RV-4. Just a beautiful airplane. Let me put the camera down, and we'll talk just a little bit before we actually start the engine. But what a beautiful airplane. Great fun flyer. Great aerobatics. It will do aerobatics. The real airplane, the real RV-4, was an aerobatic home built, and this one does a real nice job of replicating it. So see you in a moment. Well, I think you'll have to admit, she is a pretty bird, and she flies just beautifully. So I highly recommend an RV-4 for medium aerobatics, for Sunday flyer. She's just a real treat to fly. Before we start the engine, I wanted to cover a couple of things that were asked quite a few times in the Corsair video about what gasoline oil mixture I use and why do I start it the way I started it when the manufacturers suggest a different way. So let's tackle the first one first. One, I do not use gasoline in these engines, my radials or quad 4s or the 2-strokes, whatever. I don't use gasoline. I use a fuel, a blended fuel from VP Racing Fuel. Sunoco also makes another fuel that you can use if VP is not available in your area. And no oil in their fuel. I put my own oil in the fuel, and that oil for my radials is Dominator, and for the 2-stroke, the DA quads and deuces, I use Redline synthetic racing oil. The reason that I do all of that is that, one, pump gas, gasoline, is not good for these engines at all. When you think about it, gasoline for cars goes from the tank to the carburetor, from the carburetor to the cylinders, all in one move, doesn't go anywhere else. In the 2-stroke era or range, the gasoline and oil mixture is meant to lubricate the entire engine, bearings, you name it. So that means that fuel and the ethanol that's in it go to all the different areas of the engine. If they're left for any length of time, the ethanol, which has water in it, starts to corrode and starts to rust the inside of your engine. Biggest thing why not to do that. The other question, the mixture I use is in the radials and the 4-strokes, 35-1, and in the quad, DA quads and deuces, I use 40-1. And the reason I do that is that I don't run the engines really hard. At most, I use about 75% of their power. If you use 100% of their power, then up the oil content. The other question was, why do I start it the way I start it when the manufacturers don't suggest doing it that way? The reason I do that is that I like to know what's happening with the engine as I'm putting my hands on this propeller to pull it through. If you start the engine the way the manufacturers suggest to start it, you load the engine with fuel first. In other words, they suggest closing the choke, raising the throttle, ignition off, and pulling this thing through 5 or 6 times to suck fuel from your tank into the cylinders of the engine. Then they'll recommend to open the choke and flip the engine another couple of times, and then lower the throttle, turn the ignition on, and start it. Well, the problem you have with that is that you have no idea of how much fuel is in those cylinders if you do it that way. They do it that way so that the first time that you turn the ignition on and you put your hand up here, it's probably going to start. I do it the way I do it, because I like to know exactly how much fuel is going into those cylinders. And I like to know that when there's just a little bit in there, this thing is going to tell me. It's going to go boom and then quit. At that point, I can open the choke and get ready for an engine start. And the next time I put my hand up here, either in the first or second pull, it's going to start. But more to the point, it's going to start with a minimum amount of fuel in those cylinders. So I have plenty of time to get my hand out of the way. It's not going to burst to life, and scare the daylights out of you. It's going to start, and then as it starts, it's going to start sucking fuel and getting ready to run like it should at whatever throttle setting you might have, which should be right at idle. So that's why I do what I do. I tell you what, let's go ahead and start this thing, and I'll try and go through it smoothly and maybe count the prop flips and all. Of course, on a real radial, they count the blades that go by. On the 9th blade, watch any video and you'll see all of a sudden right after about the 9th blade that goes by, then it starts to light. What they're doing right there is doing basically what I'm doing, and then they turn the ignition on at the 9th blade, things start. So let's go ahead and get this thing going, and I'll talk to you in just a second.
Stall speed warning at 45 miles per hour. Hello Rick, status check complete. Transmitter is active.
Van's RV-4 is loaded.
We're just about ready to start this thing. It hasn't started for at least a couple of weeks, so it's really a cold start this morning. Engine should be pretty dry. I haven't done a thing to it, so you and I get to experience and see whether my method works as well as what the guys do if they follow manufacturer's instructions. Help me count the blades. Let's go for 9 blades. That's about what the instructions would say. 5 to 6, couple more, turn on the ignition. We're doing it my way, which is ignition on first, choke on, throttle all the way down to idle, and then we flip it until the engine tells us that it's got fuel, okay? All right, let's try it. Here we go. Let's turn the airplane on.
Avionics on. Rotating beacon active. Receiver sound.
All right,
Initialized.
everything's there. Okay, choke on.
Full choke on.
And the tones that you will hear are the ignition actually letting you know it's alive. No lights or anything like that.
Contact. Ignition hot. Mags to both. Takt time running. Telemetry is alive.
All right, here we go. And I'll bring the just a couple of bumps up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It just told me it has just enough fuel into those cylinders. Now it should start within the next 2 flips, okay? Here we go. Everything is the same. I'm going to take the choke off.
Choke off.
And here we go.
off.
Nothing like a 4-stroke, is there? Boy, that is really something. A couple of things that I would say. We cut it short just a little bit, but there's no ram air going through the cowling to keep things cool. I was looking on the transmitter and seeing what our temperatures were. 260 degrees so far on cylinder A and about the same on cylinder B, which means your spark plugs are firing, all that good stuff. If you're not flying with telemetry, I would strongly suggest learning how and doing it. This airplane is set up with airspeed, RPM, cylinder head temperature, and fuel flow for when I fly. Additionally, there are probably other 45 telemetry data points that are accessible by me about the airplane, temperature of the receivers, all kinds of important things. So I know, listening to a voice in your ears or around your neck while you're flying is new, but I would seriously think about adopting it. It's a great technical advantage and a great technical leap in our hobby to fly with live telemetry being voiced from the transmitter. Thank you for hanging around all the way to the end. I think it's ready to go. Let's go fly.